Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 24 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going, Steven?
It's going pretty good.
Good stuff. All right, today's topic, as we are arriving, the year's like flying by, dude. It's crazy. It's almost September.
I know, it is crazy.
So our topic is beers of fall, because they are almost upon us.
Yeah, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be just it's a day or two before September, so it's official pumpkin spice latte season.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I think today was the first day of pumpkin spice latte because my wife is obsessed with them.
Oh, they are started early, it seems
yeah,
like.
I think it was today. So that's how you know. You tell your seasons by Starbucks drinks. All right, well, before we get into the main topic, we got to do the best part of the podcast, at least for me, is drinking beer.
Hey, yeah, I'm ready for this today.
Are you excited? I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
All right, cool. I'll introduce my beer and give some nose notes, and I'll pass it to Steven to introduce his. But yeah, I'm drinking Hubbard's Cave El Zacaton. So this beer is not unfamiliar to me, so I'm excited to drink it today. It's a Imperial Stout. It's 12%. It's basically my favorite style right now. It's fermented. They use toasted oak, and it has almond flour, cocoa powder, but what I really like is cinnamon sticks, vanilla, and then chilies. So it's one of those cinnamon, vanilla, spicy stouts that they're pretty popular. I think they're still pretty popular, but yeah, I don't want this phase to end because I love these.
Yeah, I still see them. I feel like I don't see them quite as much as I used to, but yeah, it's still a thing. Maybe just like seasonal.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I feel like it's going to shift to something else because it always does. And I'm going to be really sad. I'll be like, bring back my spicy beer. All right, so this is pouring. I always do stouts, and the description is always the same. It's like dark as night. Black. Yeah. Super
not much of a head
flavor.
on that one though. Yeah.
No. Like usually it'll fizzle up and then just kind of dissipate, but this almost has no head whatsoever. It smells like an old friend, Steven. You can just cinnamon, vanilla, chocolate, almond. Oh, it smells so good. I'm so excited. All right,
now you've had this before, right?
I've had this before, so it's like no surprise that I'll be giving this a thumbs up. So this is kind of fun because I don't think we usually drink new stuff on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we never know what we're gonna get, but today I know I'm gonna like this, so I'll dive into this one.
Sorry, last week with the Optimum was kind of fun too because it was like a callback to something you had a long time ago. Just kind of
That's true, and it's not the same. Like. They've definitely changed it, so it's like an evolution, but it stays true. I think, and like we said last week, I think I like the new one better. But all right, I'll let you introduce this while I get some tasting notes on this bad boy.
Okay, enjoy that one. All right, I tried to pick a beer that was on topic. Now you'll find out how Jason feels about pumpkin beers later, but I'm fairly neutral on them. But I chose this Great Divide Pumpkin Spice Yeti. So there's a good chance you've heard of the Yeti Imperial Stout by Great Divide. It's their flagship Imperial Stout. So this is the pumpkin spice version. It looks like it's kind of a coffee pumpkin spice. So this is like the alcoholic pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. Reading the description, I don't think they actually use pumpkin in the brewing process. They're just using pumpkin spices, so nutmeg, clove, allspice, cinnamon. So we'll see how that ends up coming out. But Great Divide, Pumpkin Spice Yeti, Imperial Stout with coffee and spices. And this is ABV, 9.5.
It sounds good. I think my wife would like this one.
Hey, if she likes the PSL, probably. I probably should let this warm up a little bit more. It's kind of cold, but...
I was just thinking that about mine. I took it right out of the fridge. I always forget.
Okay, so mine is... I wouldn't say jet black. It's got a brown tint to it. Probably looks pretty dark to Jason on the screen, but close up, it's not jet black. It's moving towards a little bit of brown. But the head has a nice deep brown color to it.
It has quite a head on there too.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of lacing, but definitely like a foamy retaining head. Definitely a lot of coffee, but like sweet coffee. Touch of nutmeg and cinnamon, and then maybe a touch of chocolate, but very, very strong coffee and nutmeg flavors coming through. The smells. Yeah. Oh, this might be fun.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I've had the original Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty good. So.
All right. Cheers,
we'll
sir.
See how this new twist is. All right. Cheers.
Okay. Tasting notes on Hubbard's Cave. Or Zacaton. From Hubbard's Cave. It's very good. It's as I remember. So it's like it's basically like a dark malt and sweet chocolate entrance. Then you get hit by cinnamon, and then like turning up the knob on a volume of like a stereo, the heat starts to come in. Just, and then it starts to mellow out, and you just have this really long like cinnamon and vanilla finish that's spicy, but the spice, it kind of peaks and then it starts to just slowly, gradually fades out, and the finish is like really, really long, which is like something that makes this beer super interesting. So it's very enjoyable. It's definitely like you just sit with it and sip it and have a good time.
Nice. I think you had that for the first time at the beer festival.
Yes.
And I feel like the next day we were like, you wanted to go back and drink more.
Probably. It's one of my first exposures to this style too, I think. And I was like, what is that? I want more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of a theme of that beer festival. There were a ton of like mole beers, and that cinnamon and the stouts beer was I mean, it seemed like it was becoming more of a trend. For sure.
I feel like that was the upswing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm worried. I hope it stays popular. Stay popular.
I'm sure it will. I mean, I'm sure this beer that I'm drinking has some cinnamon in it. It does not, like I said, does not specify what spices it's using. I assume nutmeg and cinnamon are major players. So my tasting notes on this is actually pretty light-bodied. I would say like almost bordering on porter more than stout. Like it's very, very light, easy to drink. Kind of moving more towards like the sweet toffee malt flavors. The coffee bitterness comes in towards the end on the finish, and then it's a real slight cinnamon nutmeg flavor, but it's not overwhelming. I mean, it'd be interesting to put this side by side to the regular Yeti, because it doesn't like, I feel like they could have pushed it more to be a pumpkin spice beer. Like they really could have. Like I feel like they're not challenging the palate as much as they could have with this beer. Like they really could have pumped up the cinnamon and nutmeg flavors to make this more interesting. I mean, it's good. It's easy to drink, but I wouldn't say it's standing out as like this is like I'm drinking a pumpkin beer for sure. You know?
Yeah. So they play it pretty subtle. Sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, I think they probably just, like I said, they took their Yeti base and they added some spices to it, and I think they were fairly conservative when they did that.
In my opinion, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably smart.
Well, I mean,
you're trying to.
We'll talk about it later, but I don't like pumpkin beer season. I hate pumpkin beer season.
That's why I picked this topic.
To troll me.
Yeah. Every time I pick a topic, it's to troll somebody.
Me or your wife. Yeah. Okay, I have beer news for you, Steven.
Okay, I hope it's good news.
It's bad news.
What?
It
All
could have
all I get is bad news when I open my phone.
Don't look at your phone. Look at your beer fridge. Oktoberfest. Now, this is not confirmed. This is like anecdotal. But
Where are you getting this?
the internet, a
Oh,
very trusted
it
source.
must be. Yeah, okay.
Apparently, Oktoberfest is gone.
From Oktoberfest from Sierra Nevada, the Goza.
Correct. So the beer that made you fall in love with
My
Goza,
original favorite beer.
it's gone. So, and there's a lot of discussion about it because I know you've pointed out that the original version was a prickly pear version.
Yeah, it was cactus and grapefruit. It was the original recipe, and it was amazing.
Yes, and then they discontinued that, and they re-released it as like a lime.
Yeah, it was agave lime.
Agave lime, and that was a very controversial move.
I remember the moment I ordered it because we were at my wife and I were at Sierra Nevada, which is just like if I had to pick like top 5 places to be at any point in time, that would maybe be one of them because it's just like it's so fun and the food is so good and it's just it's so awesome and they're growing the hops right there and that facility is just so cool. Anyway, and there's just the history of Sierra Nevada is just awesome. So anyway, I love that place and I remember sitting down to eat and it's like my first choice. I didn't even look at the menu. I was like, oh yeah, Oktoberfest, you know? And as soon as I drank it, I was like, this isn't right. I was like, this is a Goza, but this isn't right. And I'm looking at the description. I'm like, it wasn't agave and lime before. Like, what? And I asked the server, like, did they change the recipe? And they're like, oh, yeah, we just did that pretty recently. And I'm like, it's terrible.
What did he say?
He's like, oh, yeah, some people like it more. Some people don't like it as much. I'm like, no, it's terrible.
So the bad news is, well, the good news in this case is that's gone.
Wow.
So here's hoping.
Yeah, I mean, if they're never going to make the original, they might as well get rid of the new one.
Here's hoping maybe when they make it again, if they do, they'll make the original.
Yeah, that would be good.
The OG recipe. So now, Stephen, we're brethren in the fact that some of our favorite beers are gone. So, you know, when this podcast is very famous and we have lots of clout, and the Netflix money comes through, we're gonna get Sierra Nevada to remake the original Oktoberfest recipe, and for you, and then we're gonna get Lagunitas to remake Aunt Sally for me,
and for me too, because I'd take Aunt Sally right now too.
And then we're gonna cheers those two beers.
That would be a really cool day.
That'd be a really good day.
That would be so awesome.
So anyways,
I think there's a chance Aunt Sally will get brewed again.
It says gone for now.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like it's the Dumb and Dumber when I see that, and I'm like, so you're saying there's a chance?
I think you just write them every day.
That's a good idea.
Just have the same like an email like queued up.
You know what I'm gonna do? No, I'm gonna write them an original haiku, a different one every day, so they know it's not like a bot. They know I'm right.
They know it. Yeah.
I'm hand typing. Maybe I'll send them a letter via post, handwritten haiku every day until they bring back Aunt Sally.
I like it.
You think it'll work?
Yeah. I don't really see how it couldn't.
I feel like if someone started sending me a handwritten in an envelope with a stamp on it haiku every day, after like, I don't know, 100 days of that, I would do anything they asked.
Yeah, I mean, at some point they're going to be like racing to the mailbox to get your letter. Like,
yeah,
what is it going to say today?
I'd be so impressed.
I'd be like, dude, this guy's a super fan. So, a little side story. I'm a big San Francisco Giants fan, if you don't know that already. And they were looking at signing, like in the off season, a closer, which is the pitcher that comes in and gets the last 3 outs of the game. And there was this guy on the free agent market named Mark Melanson, and he's one of the best closers in the game. And there was this kid. He's autistic. My cousin is a principal, and he was one of his students. But this autistic kid was obsessed with the Giants, and he was one of those like people who just like could look at statistics, and just like he knew every single MLB statistic there known to man, and he knew that this closer was like premier, and he knew that the Giants needed to sign him. So he like was writing letters to the Giants administration like every day about like, you need to sign Mark Melancon, and he would just like break down all these like statistics of like why and how he would like add to the team and all this stuff. And they ended up signing him, and they actually brought that kid, like they got him like tickets to the game, and they like he met Mark Melancon and like got pictures and autographs and stuff with him and stuff, because like they were like, obviously he wasn't the only influence on signing this closer, but they were just like, they were so like amazed and moved by how passionate he was and how incredible like his statistical breakdowns were of this guy's pitching, that they signed him, and turned out horrible for the Giants.
Wait, really? It didn't work out after that amazing story?
Yeah, he just got injured, and then like,
oh, well, you can't help that.
He literally blew the first save of the season when he like the first game of the season that he came in to save. Like he blew the save, and I mean that's gonna happen. It's just like when it happens on the first game, it's kind of terrible. And then he never pitched very well for us. But anyway, sorry, that was a bad turn on the story.
I like the first half.
I got you in the first half.
So you're saying I'm gonna write my letter to Lagunitas every day?
I'm just saying it can make a difference.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like if the same thing happens, they'll be like, okay, we're bringing it back, but we changed the recipe. That would be my ultimate defeat. All right, I'll think about it. Operation Haikus to Lagunitas is on hold. We need more tactical analysis of outcome.
I mean, I'm sure you're not busy. Like, I'm sure you're not too busy to write a haiku.
What's that?
You have like a YouTube channel, podcast, actual job.
This is important work, Steven. Getting Lagunitas to make Aunt Sally is my life's mission.
If I could do one thing before I die, it's that. All right.
All right, we're getting silly early in this episode. Let's get into the main topic.
Yeah. I'm trying to kill time so we don't have to talk about pumpkin beers.
I know, I hate pumpkin beers. Okay.
But I do want to see Jason squirm a little bit, so we'll spend a fair amount of time on pumpkin beers.
Okay, well, we can just address it right now.
You want to jump in?
Let's just take care of it. So we're talking about beers of fall. We're going to talk about... No, let's do it in order. It's fine.
Okay.
So we got to talk about... So we did some research for this episode. It won't be as in-depth as our normal level of detail, because we might have procrastinated it on our homework.
No.
Sorry, dear listener. But I learned a ton of stuff about Marzen. That's the first style we want to talk about. And it has a cool connection to Oktoberfest. But Marzen is a beer that literally means the month of March. And there's a reason for that. It's a lager that originated in Bavaria. It's described as a medium to full body and may vary in color from pale to amber to dark brown. And it's traditionally served at Oktoberfest. So here's the fun thing. Steven, what's the reoccurring theme of beer on our podcast that we're discovering the more we study it?
Loopholes, right?
Yes,
loopholes,
exactly.
Loopholes in the law.
Beer and the law go hand in hand. So this is the origin story of Marzen. There was a decree in 1553 in Bavaria that beer could only be brewed between September 29th and April 23rd. Well, first of all, that's okay.
Should have fallen into the strange beer laws episode.
I know. We got to do a global of strange beer laws of history. So anyways, what did brewers do? Of course, they have to play around these laws. So Marzen was brewed in March, and they gave it more hops and they made it higher alcohol content because they wanted it to last all the way from March to September when they could start brewing beer again. So that's the origin of it. And I guess what happens was they would often drink it and then also cellar it to try to make it. Like imagine this like in like a modern. We would never survive this ordinance, Stephen. If there was no beer for like half the year. So anyways, they're drinking it and then they would cellar it, and then if they made it all the way to next September, apparently they would drink everything they had left over at Oktoberfest because then they could brew beer again. So it's like,
yeah, you might as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Smoke them if you got them because we're going to start all over again. And I have an aside on Marzens. So Steven we used to live in the same city, or at least close. And no, we did. We both lived in Davis, California. There's a place called Sudwork. Actually, an amazing restaurant. Unfortunately, it's not, and it's.
They're still brewing, right?
They still brew, but I think
they don't have the
shut down.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing place. They had all the brewing equipment there. They would make a bunch of traditional German style beers. They served like traditional food. And I don't know it was a popular place. I don't know what happened. They kind of went through like a rebranding where they switched to more of like an American menu. I'm not really sure what went wrong. And I also think maybe the craft beer revolution might have affected them a little bit, but this is like way before craft beer. So growing up, this is like the coolest place because you would go in and you would see all the brewing equipment was on display, and it's like, oh, so cool, they're brewing it there. And I remember would make Marzen about this time earlier, I guess, but it'd be available around this time of year. And I used to think it was like the best. Oh, Marzen from Sudwork. If I got like a 6-pack of that, I was so excited. I actually had it recently. I don't know, it's still fine, but like, I don't know, it's not the wonderful beer that I remember. But yeah, it's really cool, and it was like a really cool connection to that style and the way they kind of made it at a local place to us, and like kept those traditional styles. It was really cool.
You've had too many amazing beers since then, probably.
I know, it's kind of sad. It's like once you get exposed to a certain level of stuff.
Sudwork in general, like, I mean, I remember because growing up in Davis, like I remember that place. I mean, I didn't grow up drinking beer or having family that drank beer or anything, but like the fact that I just remember that as like always a Davis staple. He kind of has that like sort of Sierra Nevada Anchor brewing history. Like they've been around for a while, crafting.
Yes.
Making craft beer.
Yeah, we could probably do it
before it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think they didn't survive exactly. Fortunately, they're still making beer, and they make like a lot of cool craft stuff now too. But yeah, they were exactly what you're saying. Like they were doing it way before it was cool, and before like this big revolution.
Do you remember Rubicon?
Yes.
Sacramento that had Monkey Knife Fight?
Yes.
Remember that? They went out of business too, but...
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, they couldn't compete either at some point, but yeah, they were kind of an original too. I think they're maybe one of Sacramento's oldest craft breweries. So it's kind of cool, the history of some of these breweries that were doing it long before... the way it is now.
Yeah, it's crazy now, and it's so competitive now. Like, I don't even know. Like, I mean, there's like some part of me that fantasizes about opening a brewery, but like, I'm not going to be good enough to compete with like all these amazing breweries. Like,
it's kind of like our beer podcasts.
Yeah, we can't compete with all these other good beer podcasts.
But we love our loyal listeners, so.
Yeah, we do, and we do it for. I mean, it's mostly so me and Steven can hang out and see each other and drink beer because he moved away and betrayed me. We used to just do this in person when we lived
we used to
5
do it in my
minutes
garage.
Yeah, and we didn't record.
We could have been doing this podcast for like years now.
Oh, we would have like the #1 podcast too.
Yeah,
We're late to the game, sir.
that's all right.
It's okay. So do you want to tell us about Oktoberfest?
Well, yeah. So this, the original Oktoberfest was actually just a wedding celebration in 1810, between Ludwig and Therese. They were the king and crown princess of Bavaria. Geographically, Bavaria is just like the southeastern region of Germany, if you are wondering where Bavaria is. And really just sort of evolved. There was a big horse race, which the people loved, and it was just a really big celebration. And they exchanged vows. And then it just sort of like evolved into this big annual celebration where they just did it every year. They did the big horse race, and really just became a big celebration of Bavarian culture in general. But one of the big parts of Bavarian culture is the beer. So,
Oh yeah.
so it tends to get a lot of the focus, but in general, like Oktoberfest. Well, especially in Oktoberfest in the United States or whatever, it's kind of like St. Patrick's Day, right? Like it's just a chance to drink beer. Cinco de Mayo. We we take all those holidays and we just drink beer.
We just turn them into beer drinking days.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. But yeah, so a celebration of Bavarian culture. It's a 5-day celebration, and they use it as an opportunity to drink all that Marzen. It's been aging for 6 months. So the Marzen is the main beer of Oktoberfest. So you'll see like Sam Adams Oktoberfest. You'll see beers named that.
Yes.
And really, it's just a Marzen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's just and apparently like the old Marzen style was pretty dark. But it's sort of evolved into more of an amber style. So that's what you're going to see nowadays. When you see a Marzen or you see an Oktoberfest beer, it's going to be an amber lager.
Okay. Well, and that makes sense too. I feel like obviously you can brew beer year round now. So.
Yeah, exactly.
You might have changed slightly.
But this is this is the season. We're going to start seeing those for sure. I think Sam Adams actually puts out their like sweater weather variety pack as their Oktoberfest and their some other seasonal beer. But yeah, this is the time. We're getting in there.
I'm ready for some. I'm ready for some sweater weather.
I am ready for some colder weather. Yeah, it's still hot here too.
Yeah, it was like 86 today, and it was like paradise. I went outside, and there wasn't.
Yeah, your 86 is perfect. My 86 is still like sweating like a dog. It's freaking humid here. Yeah.
That's why we say in California, we say it's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. It's tolerable because it's a dry heat. Yeah. Yeah, it was 91 today at lunch, and it was pretty hard to sit outside. You get used to the back sweat here. It's kind of this constant state of sweaty back.
I grew up in Michigan, so.
So you know.
Yeah, I know all about the humidity. I remember we'd come in from recess, and it would be hot in the school, and like you would touch your desk, and it was like sticky from the humidity. And you're like, oh man.
Oh, gross.
It was so gross.
Yeah. So we will very much welcome some colder weather.
Yeah, ready for sweater weather.
Because this, like the beer I'm drinking right now, like this would be a great sit on the back porch, like on a cool night. Drinking this beer, it's sure. Like it warms you inside. Like it's a cold beer that actually warms you up. Like with the warm spices, the nutmeg, the cloves, the allspice and cinnamon. Very comforting, very warming.
That's nice. All right. Well, do we want to talk about pumpkin beers?
Do I? Of course I do.
You like pumpkin beers. I hate pumpkin beers.
So that's interesting because this is sort of a wide category at this point because they basically make every version of beer in a pumpkin style now. I mean, you can find pumpkin lagers, you can find pumpkin cream ales, you can find pumpkin stouts, pumpkin ambers, of course, and they range in, strength as well. Especially the more popular ones now are strong. Pumpkin from Southern Tier is 8.6%. The Pumpkinator from St. Arnold Brewing is 10%. So, and I've seen much higher than that too. So they use it to play up the strength of the beer.
Okay, so, well, let's talk about it, and then I'll rant about it.
Okay.
But let's talk about pumpkin beers. First of all, we made an interesting discovery. Pumpkin's native to North America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I did not know.
I didn't know that either. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah. So this is not something. So just pumpkin beers in general is going to be something sort of native to North America. It's not like some old Belgian style.
Right, because I don't think they had access to pumpkins yet. Yeah. So apparently, it is credited to being like an American style. It dates all the way back to 1771. And it says, it's funny, this has come up for the second time. And I feel like we need to either do part of an episode or do an episode about George Washington and his relationship to beer. Because it said the recipe, so the first commercially brewed pumpkin ale came from Buffalo Bill's Brewery in Hayward, California in the 1980s. And it says the recipe is based on brewing studies made by George Washington. And I swear we talked about this in another episode about George Washington and beer.
Well, yeah, because I actually read about a recipe that they dug up from like his writings, and it was a beer recipe. And just looking at the recipe, it was like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible.
Yes,
because they just didn't have like a lot. They had corn, a lot of corn was their like basic grain. So they were importing a lot of beer from England. Like that was the good beer. And then when they tried to like make their own beer at home with like the grains that they had, they just, I don't know. Well, Anheuser-Busch. That fired. Story.
Yeah. But
terrible beer.
This is raising an important question.
Like, what's that?
Is George Washington one of our peoples?
Oh, I'm sure.
Was he a beer snob?
He was awesome.
Why has he got all these writings about beer recipes?
I mean, the dude was one of the greatest figures in the history of our country, right?
But he's a beer nerd. That's even cooler.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely sounds like a president I would like to hang out and have a beer with, right?
Well, yeah, we drink one of his traditional recipes and then spit it out because it's awful.
Like, this is terrible, dude.
Be like, George, I brought you this beer from the future. It's called El Zacaton. He would hate it. Yeah.
It's called Pumpkin Spice Yeti. Great divide. Very trendy.
This is like a classic spin on the if you could time travel. Maybe this should be our spin. When we start having guests, we're going to ask them, if you could time travel, who would you want to meet and talk to? And what beer would you bring them?
I think it'd be worth taking George Washington like a good craft lager.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's going to be used to drinking, right? Like you don't want to bring him something weird.
No, I would never bring him a chili,
like a wild sour
stout. No, he wouldn't like it. But if you brought him like I'm trying to think of like an excellent craft lager, it would blow his mind probably.
I'm kind of obsessed with Martin House's Pilsner right now. Super good, super clean, but like kind of floral too, like good notes. Yeah, I might take him something like that.
All right, cool. So if we can time travel, we got it all figured out.
Yeah, we'll have to do more episodes on time travel.
Time travel beers. That sounds like a good episode.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Okay, so anyways, back to pumpkin beers.
Yeah.
So they're very popular in America, and
I mean everything pumpkin is, right?
Yeah, it's like we talked about
obsession.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of makes sense now because it is an American native plant.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it's popular.
Yeah. And there's just like, I don't know if it's just like sort of Pinterest culture, TikTok culture, but like people are just obsessed with fall. You know, you kind of, I don't know whether it's like because of the internet, because of social media, you get that sort of like collective where like you know your people, right? And they're just like tend to be like fall people and summer people, and you just like see a lot of that, like, oh, fall's coming, I'm so excited, it's my favorite time of year kind of thing. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you get that sort of like culture built around the seasonal stuff and what's coming out, and definitely pumpkin stuff this time of year starts to get people pretty excited about. You know, you get Halloween and Thanksgiving, and it is a fun time of year. School's back in session, and
Football season.
football, yeah. Yeah, the boys of fall. We're talking about the beers of fall, but boys of fall. The football players, man. It is a good time of year for sure.
Yeah, and the temperature starts cooling off. Yeah, I love fall too. But that's what I hate about pumpkin beer. So we can address it now. Because
it's like
right now,
too hipster for you, or what?
No, the problem is right now if you go to like the store and you go in the beer aisle, it's a takeover. They displace everything. Everything is a pumpkin beer.
Hey, I'll take 100 pumpkin beers over the hard seltzer aisle.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take a pumpkin beer over a hard seltzer.
If I ever see a pumpkin hard seltzer, I'm gonna off myself.
It's like the ultimate combination of two things we hate. No, I mean, like, one, I've never super had a pumpkin beer I like, so maybe I'll have to take some of your suggestions. But two, it's just like, it's so pervasive. Like, when it's pumpkin beer season that, like, everyone's going to put out a pumpkin beer, and it's just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
One, I don't really like these, and two, it's like, it's displacing all the things I would normally want to get, so.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is, like, so the beer I'm drinking tonight, like, it only has pumpkin spices in it. Like I said, nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon, but there's not actually pumpkin in this beer. Whereas, like, and I see that a lot. Like, I've seen that where it's specifically says pumpkin spice, but then you also have the beers that are actually using pumpkin in the mash. So I think this is kind of different levels, because I think you would enjoy the beer I'm drinking tonight, you know, because it's just got a little bit of cinnamon touch to it with like coffee toffee, chocolate flavors. I don't know. I think you would enjoy this.
Okay, fair enough. You're saying the resolution of my hatred is not dialed into a sufficient level. Because I think what I don't like is, I don't think I like beers where they use pumpkin in the mash.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would like, what you're talking about. I think I might like more like a spiced stout or something like that. But yeah, but like actual pumpkin beer where they use pumpkin, I know I don't like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't really like pumpkin in general. I don't like, maybe this is heresy, I don't like pumpkin pie.
Really?
No.
I mean, I've definitely had some bad pumpkin pie, but good pumpkin pie is it's unbeatable.
Really?
With like a homemade whipped cream on top. Yeah.
Dear listener, you can't see the face I'm making, but it's all
okay,
scrunched.
So what's your favorite like Thanksgiving pie?
I don't know. That's a hard one. I'm like boring. Give me a French apple with a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's good.
Or cheesecake.
But that's not Thanksgiving pie.
Oh. But can I... Okay, fine. French apple was a scoop of ice cream.
Okay.
A la mode, as they say.
Hey, that's a solid choice. Are you a pecan pie person?
No.
Okay. That's what you'll see a lot this year too, is like pecan beers, pecan porters. We have Shiner here in Texas that makes a pretty good pecan porter.
Okay, I'd be down to try a pecan porter. I don't think I've ever had one. That sounds interesting.
So kind of nutty brown ales for sure. Yeah, that's probably falls under our beers of fall category here episode. Definitely going to see some. I mean, porters and stouts in general are just colder weather beers. But yeah, additions of like spices that we've been talking about, but also nuts, pecans, that kind of thing, make for some good cold weather sipping for sure.
Yeah, and that's another reason. I've never thought about this, but I actually do think fall is my favorite season.
Yeah?
Yeah, because also it's the rise of the stouts. Like,
that's true. It's your time.
It's my beer time. And I like that the weather gets cooler and yeah, holidays and football and yeah.
Are you like a cold weather? You prefer cold weather over hot weather?
Yeah, I think so. Because I grew up in Michigan, so
Yeah.
I
I've always
didn't.
liked the idea of like being able to like crank up the heat in my house and like put more layers on to go outside.
That's
Like
yeah,
then like just go outside and sweat. Like it's at
exactly.
some point I have to have like shorts and a t-shirt on, and I just sweat. Like,
That's the problem. Like at least with the cold weather, you can continuously put on more layers. But when it's super hot, I mean, you can take off all of your clothes, but it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Like you're still boiling and sweating. So yeah,
I guess
one
if you have
problem.
like a pool in your backyard, that would be nice.
Yes. Yeah, you should get a pool. That's what you need. That's like
Yeah.
Arizona. So I have family that live in Arizona. I don't know the statistical number, but when you fly into Arizona and you look out the window, you'll see
pools
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the only way to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a pretty nice little community pool that's just a few minute walk. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But even that's like more work than like just going into your backyard and
swimming. If it's in your backyard, that really helps.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a cold weather person.
Same.
So like it's like really cold. I mean, Texas was frozen for like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, you guys got really cold.
I can do without that.
Yeah.
Without the complete freeze for 2 weeks, but yeah, in general, I do like the colder weather.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, do we want to say anything else about the beers of fall?
Well, yeah. So I mentioned porters and stouts, just ambers and reds in general, both amber ales and amber lagers. You're gonna see those spiced and pumpkin added and nuts added, that kind of stuff. And you'll see dunkels this time of year too, which is just another German style, kind of an amber style. But yeah, definitely going towards the malty, sweeter, darker styles to warm you up, kind of wrap you up in a little beer sweater.
Nice. Okay, I actually have one more question for you. And this is an off-the-cuff question, so if you don't have an answer, that's okay.
Okay.
What's your favorite pumpkin beer?
My favorite pumpkin beer.
And I'll try it, and then that'll be my fair shaked pumpkin beers.
I think you should try Pumpkinator from St. Arnold.
Ooh, that might be hard for me to get.
Yeah, I'll try and secure you some.
Okay.
Because I'm close.
Okay, and then I'll come visit you and try it.
They might have like a release of it probably soon in the next month or two. I'll try to get some.
Okay, then I'll come to it with an open mind. But if I don't like this one, I'll swear off pumpkin beers forever. So no pressure.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's fine actually. If you don't ever want to drink a pumpkin beer, I'm actually pretty cool with that. I don't. You drink what you want, man.
I have strong feelings about the pumpkin.
Yeah, I think like my wife definitely has more of an opinion on the pumpkin beers. I tend to just sort of like, I don't know. They always seem to be more like just ambers. I don't know. Like they don't ever stand out too much to me.
Wait, is she pro or con pumpkin beer?
Oh, she likes them, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Like a good one. Yeah. I mean, she's very opinionated on her pumpkin beers, like whether she likes them or not. But like in general, she likes that style. She likes maltier styles in general. So.
Well, if you want to suggest a pumpkin beer for me to drink, you should email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can do that as well. We are on Instagram at attenuation.podcast, where we have over 40 followers.
And you can message us there too with your pumpkin beer suggestions. I'm going to flood Instagram with pumpkin beers this fall.
Are you gonna? Seriously? Alright, I gotta step up.
Now I'm just going to try and find as many as I can.
I was actually really jealous of the one you posted the other day, Tiger's Blood. Did you like that?
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, that looked awesome.
That would definitely be a place we would go. We have it's Blue Owl. It's down in like downtown Austin, and they're all sour brewery. They do like a few different like sour techniques. They do like sour mash and kettle sours and stuff, but yeah, it's all sour. So they have sour IPAs. They have a sour stout. They have a sour cherry stout. You'd probably like.
That sounds amazing. Okay, add it to the bucket list. Blue Owl Brewing. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's probably a wrap on episode 24.
24?
Yeah, I think so.
Man, it's hard to believe we got up that high.
I know, it's crazy. We're like halfway
still have
through
stuff to talk about.
we have a lot of deep dives left in us, Steven.
That's true.
Every time we do one of those, we
the
learn.
deep dive. The Goza deep dive.
Do you want to do that next?
Oh, maybe.
I have a really good Goza in my fridge.
Ooh.
Okay, think about it. I think we're doing that next week.
Cool.
All right. Well, we are bidding you adieu. This has been Attenuation, a Beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
And we are saying cheers, and we'll see you next time for episode 25.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a Beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!